Good afternoon, everybody. Katie Simon Holland, the Washoe County School District President of the Board of Trustees. After close to 3 hours of public testimony today, the Board of Trustees of the Washoe County School District voted 6-1 to terminate Tracy Davis's contract as superintendent of the district, effective immediately with cause. Evidence was provided to the district on May 29, 2019, as a result of the discovery period of another case in which an ex-employee was suing the district. Based on that evidence, and due to the lack of resolution and discussions between legal counsel for the district and Ms. Davis's attorney, it was my responsibility as board president to call for a special meeting of the Board of Trustees to consider that evidence on the public record and to publicly determine what action should be taken regarding Ms. Davis's employment with the district. And I will emphasize the only authority of the board president is to call or cancel meetings, set the agendas, and then by board policy to be the spokesperson for the Board of Trustees. Pursuant to her employment agreement, Ms. Davis's employment agreement, the only compensation she will be receiving because of the termination for cause will be earned benefits that have been accrued, such as unused vacation and sick time, plus a $15,000 deferred compensation contribution, all of which totals $122,412.79. And we will provide you with that detail. Her employment agreement also specifies that in the event of a dispute about her termination, the matter is resolved in district court. No severance or settlement will be paid unless so ordered by a court. Dr. Krista McNeil was also voted upon by the board to be named interim superintendent, as the district must have a superintendent upon the termination of the current superintendent's contract. There will be further discussion at the July 23rd board meeting to determine the process for hiring the next superintendent. Dr. McNeil has decades of experience in education, including as teacher and administrator, and is committed to the quality, accountability, transparency, and improved communication of the district. We know this is a very difficult time for employees, students, and families, and we want to assure you that the district is in good hands. Today's discussion and action was difficult, and we have felt the heartbreak and distrust of our employees and the public, but each of the board members has demonstrated a commitment to addressing this matter publicly, as we are required to do by law, and in the face of considerable community controversy. We have heard loudly and clearly that the staff of the district and the public desire an atmosphere of greater accountability, collaboration, and transparency, and a focus on the children, and we are committed to providing that as much as we are legally and ethically able to do. By statute, Ms. Davis's contract and conduct had to be discussed on the public record, no matter how difficult that discussion was. I also want to address the accusations that this district and board action was somehow due to racial discrimination. That is preposterous. Look at the diversity of this board. The conduct that was addressed and the evidence the district was provided has no relationship to race, gender, or any other category. It is merely a matter of conduct. This was very simply a matter of the district being presented with substantial evidence of egregious conduct that was at best gross negligence of supervision on Ms. Davis's part as the CEO of the district, and possibly worse. That is why she was given notice, and this special meeting was called to address it. I'm now going to allow Dr. McNeil to make some comments, and then we'll take some questions.
Thank you, President Simon Holland. I want our students, families, parents, and staff and community to understand that I fully comprehend with every fiber of my being what has occurred has affected our community. The trust is broken on many levels within our organization and outside of our organization, and that hurts us. It hurts our teachers, it hurts our principals, and it hurts our support staff, it hurts our students, and it hurts our leadership team. I want to state that this district's leadership team has been unfairly targeted in this matter, except for certain individuals, and is comprised of deeply committed people who have risen through the ranks to provide consistent and impactful leadership for this school district. They are former teachers, principals, engineers, accountants, grant evaluators, school psychologists, attorneys, counselors, and police officers. And they show their dedication to their individual roles on a daily and often nightly basis for all of our students, staff, and families of the Washoe County School District. I know it is going to take time to repair this trust at very deep levels and across many organizations and agencies. And this will be our main charge and challenge going forward. This is going to have to happen starting today, tomorrow, and over the next few months. We must be honest that this work is not going to happen overnight. It will be hard, but it must and it will be done. I will start with a meeting of our leadership team and tomorrow and our employee associations immediately following. It will require meetings of our students and parents and a deep look at all of our procedures to ensure that we are being as transparent as possible with the community and the media while still following state and federal laws. I will not be traveling or serving on national boards during this time. I will be out in our schools and working alongside our board and our leadership team to maintain the functions of this school district. I have the breadth of knowledge and will maintain the functioning of this district and take this responsibility with all the care and seriousness that it deserves. My track record in Washoe County School District spans over 2 decades and is one of rising through the ranks based on my work ethic and abilities. I've served as a teacher and a principal, a director, chief strategies officer, the district's first chief of staff, and then the deputy superintendent. I want to assure you that I will be working to focus with our students and our families and our teachers and our principals and our support staff every day, every hour, as I'm named interim superintendent. And we will open up our schools on time on August 12th to serve our 64,000 beautiful students. Thank you for your time, and we'll take questions.
Who has questions? Yeah, Brandon?
You mentioned that any more severance would only be paid after something happens in the district court. Does that mean that the court would have to order it, and does that mean that you guys are not going to negotiate a possible settlement, that it would have to play out completely in court for any more money to be awarded to Tracy Davis?
Based on the board's action today, the ball is really in Ms. Davis's court. The board has taken action, and again, pursuant to her employment agreement, if she disputes that action, she would go to district court. The court has its own procedures for what it requires. Some judges require certain mediation, but we will follow the direction of the court if that becomes necessary.
I guess, is it just possible that in that setting you could negotiate a settlement?
It is possible that a court would direct us to have some sort of mediation, but again, we will follow what a court determines we need to do.
You couldn't enter into negotiations now?
The board's action was termination for cause. So that is the board's action. If there is any further action from her attorney, that's up to them. But the board's action was termination for cause. Yes, sir.
Katie, what's the maximum liability that the insurance carrier for the school district has in case Tracy beats you in court? One. Second, I've been reliably informed that this, combined with other instances, may make it very difficult for the school district to get liability insurance in the future. So what's the cap, and what's the potential of being able to get insured further down the road when she sues you? Pardon me.
Thanks, Andrew. Actually, pursuant to Ms. Davis's contract, the amount that would be, if the board action of termination for cause is overturned by a court, then the next is termination not for cause. And the termination not for cause is also spelled out in her employment agreement. So the maximum that would be payable, unless for some other reason the court chose not to recognize her contract, which she had signed, is I believe it's $426,000, and we'll get those numbers for you.
426 is her maximum.
That's the maximum.
How much is
There's no other exposure.
Have you got any of that covered by a liability insurance policy?
It would not be necessary for us to have a liability insurance policy to cover if that is the outcome from a court.
Do you have liability for this sort of thing?
We have liability for all of those kinds of things. Yes, we do.
Had you fired her without cause, she would have received challenging the school district in court. Was that considered as an option to end this and not have any sort of court battle?
It certainly was discussed with legal counsel as an option, and there was, I think each board member considered that individually on their own, and you did hear Dr. Taylor had suggested that that would be her motion that she would have made. I think folks that I have heard from in the community have been uncomfortable with that notion, that if there was substantial evidence, we should not be paying that severance when there was, in fact, in many people's opinion, cause for termination. So that was the board's decision today. I hope that makes sense. Yes, Siobhan.
Kristen, do you think you will apply to be superintendent?
I haven't made any decisions yet.
Well, why do you want to be interim superintendent?
Well, it's per board policy, actually, and it provides continuity for our school district right now, and that's really important. It's important to me personally. It's important to me as a parent, and it's important to me as an educator, and I want to honor the board's faith in my abilities in order to do that.
You said you felt like the leadership staff, some good people were really maligned in this whole process. What did you mean by that? Like who do you think there were unnecessary attacks against in the school districts? Or what were things said about you or other people on the leadership team? What were you referring to?
I was referring to our collective leadership team. We have a very supportive leadership team, and my message to our leadership team is that when we're talking about the leadership in the school district, besides a few individuals, they work very, very hard for children every single day. And so I thought it was important to honor the work that they do.
You mentioned a meeting with some of the leadership staff. What do those meetings entail exactly? Is it just you getting caught up to speed, or what's going to be discussed in those meetings?
Typically, it's, a leadership team meeting is to go over what the work is before us. As you know, we have 3 new schools opening up. We have teachers to hire. We have schedules to fill. We've got aides and assistants to hire. So it's pretty much taking a check and to make sure I am there for support for them and whatever I can do to support them in their work that needs to be done.
President Simon Holland, do you support, some people have indicated they want a national search for the next superintendent. Is that something that you'd be supportive of?
As an individual, and again, I haven't discussed this with the rest of the Board of Trustees, but I absolutely have long supported a national search. I think it's important not only for the community, but it's also important for the candidate, because then the candidate knows that they were the best qualified person and they have the full confidence of the community and the board. I will be advocating for a very inclusive process that includes the voices of our staff, that includes voices of parents and families, students, community members, because as we all understand, the role of the superintendent is one of the most important jobs in our community, and it has such an impact on everything else that happens. So that's just as one trustee.
Dr. McNeil, do you plan to apply?
She just asked that.
How for the permanent job?
I haven't made any decisions yet.
Oh, okay.
Paul?
Play hard to get.
How quickly do you see the process moving? I know it'll take the next board meeting to actually start the search process, but realistically, when do you see the new superintendent in that role?
Well, some of that has to deal with not only the process that we determine, but also who leads the process. I would expect that we will be looking at an outside firm to help us with that. There are cycles of availability of superintendent candidates, so some of that impacts our pool of applicants. But again, we will move forward at the very next meeting to have that item on the agenda to begin those discussions and set that plan. And I have talked with Interim Superintendent McNeil about the desire for us to have a 60-day plan, if you will. Here's what's going to be needed in the first week and 2 weeks and 3 weeks, et cetera. And she's looking forward to being able to work on that with her leadership team.
You told us late last week that you were planning to vote to terminate with cause. Was that fair to make that determination before hearing from Tracy Davis herself or her response?
Well, I can tell you that after reading the 270 pages of material of what is irrefutable, concrete evidence matched with the corroborating evidence we had from our own internal meeting files, et cetera, it was absolutely clear and irrefutable to me. I did not hear anything today that changed that, and it pains me deeply. I'm deeply disappointed that we're here, but I am very much looking forward to moving forward, that this is a new day and it's a fresh start, and we are all going to work hard to make it a positive step going forward.
There was a suggestion, I think during public comment, that the district ought to look at a nepotism policy. That appears to be a big part of what happened.
We do have a nepotism policy. And it's compliant with state law. It's compliant with management practice. It's probably the same nepotism clause that you have in your organizations.
It didn't seem to work here. It didn't prevent this.
Well, a nepotism clause does not prevent misbehavior. A nepotism clause defines the reporting relationships of people who may be related. And in Nevada law, it goes to the third level of consanguinity, and it involves not only marriage but blood relation. So our policy has been in strict compliance with Nevada statute. But that a policy and a law does not prevent people from misbehaving and exhibiting misconduct, and that is what occurred abundantly.
There were concerns in public comment that this was handled as an internal investigation. Do you think that maybe this should have been an independent investigation, and moving forward, will this be handled as such?
Again, we did not investigate. We received information during a discovery period about another case, and we were presented with all of this evidence. And again, it's concrete and irrefutable. It is in people's own words from their own phone texts and their own email addresses and their own personal notes. So we did not pursue getting that information. We reviewed it and we tested it and we verified the veracity of it, but again, not an investigation. My hope going forward is that we will look at how did this happen? How was that individual able to access confidential employee emails that were that were unauthorized and that were the property of other people? How did that happen? And that is worth certainly knowing, but that does not impact Ms. Davis's conduct in this matter.
I think I have a question a little bit about the morale. I'm hearing from teachers and students and principals that the morale is at an all-time low, and we even heard from some of the people talking today. Moving forward, I guess for you, Dr. McNeil, what is your plan to improve morale and to assure the employees and the students of Washington County School District that maybe things will get better? I mean, how do you address that?
I think it's me being myself. It's me being Kristen McNeil, and it's me meeting with individual employees and listening to them. I think that's a big issue right now, is listening. But just past listening, it's then making those actions and taking actions on what the concerns are.
But for the larger community, parents out there, I mean, once again, we're here, we're firing a superintendent that we've watched this just a few years ago. And now we've added a racial divide in the community that would seem to be evident today. You know, how does the board regain the trust? How does it heal that wound?
Well, again, I mean, as the interim superintendent, that is what I am going to be doing. I will be meeting with community members, and, you know, I respect Dr. Feimster very much, and I believe that that's important to do. We have a lot of healing to do. We have a great deal of healing, and that starts at the employee, at the parent, at the child level, and it starts here in this district building as well.
Do you get a raise with this intern post or any other perks? What are the perks you get now?
I haven't discussed any of that yet.
Does that go on the board?
I'll address
What
that.
are you going to give her, Katie?
There is, in board policy, it does say that the board would establish compensation for an interim superintendent. We have not had that conversation internally. We have not had that conversation with Dr. McNeil.
A couple more questions and then we need to let them go.
Can you give us the costs of the accelerated PR campaign? You were sending out an email a day or more over the last couple of weeks. Can you get us those costs and the costs for furloughing all your staff in this building, or most of them, for Thursday and Friday of last week. Would you get those costs to me and to them?
Certainly, and let me just clarify the action that the acting superintendent, Dr. McNeil, took at the end of the week. We did not pay extra to people because they were already being paid. We did offer people who felt intimidated and who felt threatened, and we had many employees come forward who said that they did feel threatened. Dr. McNeil offered them the opportunity to work from home. I did ask that staff determine how many people did we have that were working remotely so that we could figure out whether there was some additional cost if we had employees who were not working at all. That's really the cost, was loss to productivity, but we did still serve people in this building, and we will get the rest of the information for you.
So you're saying people here told you they feared physical violence from Ms.
No, I did not say physical violence, did I, Mr. Barbano? I said they felt intimidated, they felt harassed, they felt that there was a disruption to their work environment and that they would not be able to do their work well. And yes, many employees expressed that, both to district officials and to board members.
One more question. Trustee Calvert was the only member who voted opposite the board. She didn't give any sort of comment today. Have you heard anything from her, any indication as to why she voted the way she did?
I have not. I support her, and I know this has been a very difficult decision for everyone, and each of the board members had to vet this themselves individually, and I know she did, like the rest of us did, and we all had to come to our own conclusions, and I respect that.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Appreciate your time.